mean, one of my daughters goes to a non-religious service on Sundays,
Yeah, right.
so it doesn't bring God into it and doesn't bring the supernatural.
But we are talking about religion.
You know, well, whether you call that religion or not, I don't know. But I think the point is that there is, about religion, certainly about the Christian religion, ultimately, the dividing line is, do you believe in the supernatural or not? And because it involves supernatural. I mean, we were hearing Anne Widdecombe there talking about the Spirit, the Holy Spirit descending down from God. Now, that's all supernatural. I don't believe in it.
Adam, is it surprising to you that young people, our young people in this country, are more religious now rather than less?
Right. I've got to admit, first of all, I'm profoundly unmoved by the death of the Pope. As far as I'm concerned, a sick old man dies, and it's not a surprise. And, we've been expecting it for a long time. I also think we need to be very careful about talking about religion making a comeback, because by and large, I don't think religion has done us many favours over the millennia. And when we talk about young people, it is true that a higher percentage of young people than previous generations are now going to church, or to evangelical services, but it's still a very small percentage. And I think you can argue, frankly, when you see people like J.D. Vance and Hecksmith and others, evangelical Christians parading around themselves in American politics, you can argue that these are not people who, in my view, as a cultural Christian, I would regard as people who manifest Christian values in the way in which they behave. I think, the papacy is obviously a very respectable institution. I mean, I've been looking at the figures. Goes back to the time of Christ. St. Peter was the first pope. The next pope, I think, will be the 267th. So, that's a very venerable tradition. One point one should make, of course, they've all been men. And by and large, they've all been, since the very early times, they've all been European men, and 80% of them have been Italians. So, the Pope is a phenomenon. People, if they have their religion, we are supposed to respect it. I personally think they should keep religion right out of politics. But as someone who covers elections and keeps an eye on the powerful, I do believe that the Pope still wields some influence. I think you can argue whether it's been particularly beneficial in modern times, given the attitudes that the Church has taken, for example, towards contraception, towards abortion, towards women's rights. Look at all the abuse that there's been in various churches. And in fact, Larry the Cat, that excellent source on X, points out that this is the first time since 1691 that the job of Pope and Archbishop of Canterbury have been vacant at the same time, 333 years ago.
I mean, all those points are pretty succinctly made the way that you do it, Adam. But it is interesting, isn't it, that there's been a significant increase in young people calling themselves religious. We're not just talking compared to past generations, but just since 2018. The number of those young people have gone up by four times, from 4% of those surveyed up to 16%. And yes, relatively speaking, as a portion of the population, that may not be absolutely overwhelming, but it is a notable spike at a time like this.
Well, I mean, one of my daughters goes to a non-religious service on Sundays,
right.
so it doesn't bring God into it and doesn't bring the supernatural.
But we are talking about religion.
Well, whether you call that religion or not, I don't know. But I think the point is that there is, about religion, certainly about the Christian religion, ultimately, the dividing line is, do you believe in the supernatural or not? And because it involves supernatural. I mean, we were hearing Anne Widdecombe there talking about the Spirit, the Holy Spirit descending down from God. Now, that's all supernatural. I don't believe in it.
When you call yourself a cultural Christian, what do you mean?
I mean, I'm British. I've grown up in the tradition of the church. I've been to schools where, we went to church services, and frankly, I don't think I have many problems with the teachings of Jesus. I think that those, by and large, compared to what was going before, have been beneficial. But then I look at other religions, and there are aspects of them which I think lead to racism. We only look at our own history, that various sects of Christianity have spent a lot of their time knocking seven bells out of each other, most recently in our time, in our lives in Northern Ireland.
Okay. So, Anna, what are your thoughts on the passing of Pope Francis? We can come to the succession as you choose it in a moment, but I was struck by some data that I saw today that religion is now becoming more popular in this country, not less so, and especially among young people, the millennials and the Gen Zers, which I must admit took me rather by surprise when I look around me and the way we talk, Anna, every day about cynicism being on the rise, scepticism being on the rise. You'd think the opposite might be the case, but no, Anna.
Well, indeed, and I was struck by the Prime Minister's words following the death, where he described Pope Francis as a pope for the poor, and said specifically that he never lost hope for a better world. So I wonder if his influence there was something that would have drawn more people to the church. And also, I guess, in these times of difficulty and increasing crisis and uncertainty, people do want to have hope for a better world. They want to draw that from somewhere, and of course religion has for millennia been that source.
Shoot! Great! Hello. Good morning again. Yeah, so good to see you. Thank you. Hello. So good to see you. God bless you and good morning. How are you?
Find yourself.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Happy Easter to you, Father. Wonderful. I know you've not been feeling great, but it's good to see you in better health.
Grazie.
Anche buona Pasqua a lei. E dice
Grazie Santo Padre.
Thank you.
these are for your children.
Okay, thank you.
These are the gifts. These are also gifts for you as well.
Thank you. It's
The
beautiful.
Vatican tie, and then the rosaries for your wife, the white for your children, and the red one is for the red.
Molta santità.
Thank you very much for your visit.
Of course. And thank you for seeing me. Pray for you every day. God bless you.
Io prego per lei ogni giorno, che Dio la benedica. Grazie Santo Padre.
Happy Easter.